Hey guys, what's up? How are you? I hope that you guys are having an amazing day today. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Jarrell, and in today's video we're going to be trying the Stargaze eyeshadow palette from Nars, and we are also going to be trying the Rising Star face palette from Nars as well. It is from the same collection. If you guys are interested in seeing how they perform on the eyes, 3 looks, swatches, and all of that good stuff, then let's go ahead and get into the video. But before we do, please don't forget to like and of course subscribe to my channel if you have not already. And without further ado, let's get on to the video. So let's go ahead and start with the eyeshadow palette. Here we have the Stargaze eyeshadow palette, and this retails for $60. It is made in Italy and it does have a shelf life of 12 months. This is how the packaging looks on the outside, and here is how it looks on the inside. So here we have the color story. As you can see, we do have some cool tones and some warm tones as well. So let's go ahead and move on to the close-up of this eyeshadow palette as well as swatches, and of course you're going to see the first 2 looks that I created. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and do our third and final look. I'm going to use this shade right here. I'm going to do a halo eye. Add that shade in the outer corner and in the inner corner. And just building this shade to the intensity that it can be. And just doing it little by little, and also running that shade on our lower lashes really close to the outer corner. Going to start stunning it out a little bit. Using a Refer 13 brush in this shade right here, very little. And I'm just going to really add that color in the outer corner and really tight in the inner part of our lid. And we're going to go little by little just because this shade is super pigmented. I'm barely touching my lid. And going back with the previous brush in the same taupey shade, this one right here, just to blend the edges. Right, so we're going to pop the purple shade, this one right here, right in the middle with our finger. And then we're going to take a little bit of this shade right here with the same tiny brush, just because it has a little bit of purple to it. I'm just going to blend the edges. Whenever I try to blend the other shade to it, I feel like it's just blending away. So it really is not holding its pigment. So what I'm going to do is add this purple shade right here, which is a glittery shade. Just going to add it on top of it. Again, just taking these two shades right here back and forth and just adding it right here to the very center of it. And blending that shade into the glittery shade. Going to wet my brush. Right, and in the very center, I am going to add this gold right here, which is absolutely beautiful. I don't know how it's going to go with the purple, but I think it should be okay. I'm going to add a little bit of a liner on my tie line, curling my lashes. Using the MAC Stack Micro Brush Mascara. I'm going to clean up a little bit and do my base and the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. All right guys, before we move on to the face palette that I am super excited for, let's go ahead and finish together the lower lashes. I'm just going to repeat exactly what we did up here, down here. So we're going to grab a little tiny brush. This is the Morphe E36 brush, and I'm going to go back to this shade right here. I'm just going to add it to the outer corner and the inner corner. So the same brush, and just taking a really tiny bit of this shade right here, and I'm just going to again take it on the inner corner and outer corner closer to the lash line, and I'm going to connect it here in the outer corner. So I'm going to clean the same brush, making sure that it's really nice and clean, and going back with the purple shade right here. I'm going to run it right in the center, and going back with these two shades again, just to blend the edges. Going back with this little tiny brush, and now we're using the gold shade one more time, and it's going to be right in the center. And with a little tiny brush like this, I'm just going to add this shade right here, the pinky shade, to our inner corner, but like really tiny amount, just to brighten things up. And this one is the Refer 03 brush. So adding a little bit of mascara on my lower lashes. Alright guys, so here we have the final third look. If you are into cool tones, you are definitely going to really enjoy and appreciate this type of looks, because it is definitely cool tones lovers a kind of look. But let's go ahead and move on to the face palette. The packaging for the eyeshadow palette and the face palette is pretty much exactly the same. Here is for the eyeshadows, and this one is for the face palette. Now the face palette does have a shelf life of 18 months, and it does have 6 shades. It is made in Italy, and this one retails for $60. I did purchase mine at Sephora. I actually went yesterday to pick up the face palette. I was not going to review it, but then I changed my mind, and since I was already doing this video for the eyeshadow palette, why not include it here? So here we have the packaging. Again, It is exactly the same as the eyeshadow palette. And here we have the face palette. As you can see, we have 5 blushes and 1 highlighter. So let's go ahead and just swatch it. It does feel really, really nice. I'll swatch it right here for you guys so you guys can see. So this is the highlighter, and it does have a pinky shift to it. Here we have the first blush. And this one is definitely super nice and bright. Let me just swatch the next 3. So here we have the next 3. This one is definitely more muted, more mauve-y. This one is more on the orangey corally side. And here we have the deepest shade in the palette. And here are the swatches for the face palette. Really beautiful. So I am going to add a little bit of bronzer to sculpt my face first. And I'm using this one from Nars. I think it was from last year or maybe the year prior to that. And it's just in the shade Laguna. I will have my foundation shades as reference down in the description area just in case you guys are interested in knowing my foundation shades. And of course I will link everything that I'm using on my face and everything down below in the description area as well. So I'm going to start with this shade right here, which is more of a purpley kind of blush. I'm going to just add a little bit. I'm going to add that to the back of my cheeks. And I'm using the Sigma F40 brush. One of my favorite brushes to apply bronzer, blushes. This is a really good one. So I'm going to press it and then blend it. And just blending it to my hairline as well and my temples. So it is building up really nicely. I'm really trying to be soft-handed because I don't want to apply too much, but that looks absolutely beautiful, and it gives you a really nice natural glow to it. There's no glitters to the blushes. It's just really nice and glowy. If you use a denser brush, then you're definitely going to be able to pick up a little bit more pigmentation than what I am. I'm trying to be, again, soft-handed with it. I do not want to apply too much. I'm going to add it a little bit on the nose. So now taking the Laura Lee L13 brush, I'm going to use this shade right here for the apples of the cheeks. Just going to blend it back. And this brush is definitely a little bit denser and is picking up the product really nicely, but it's not adding too much pigment to it, which I do like, just because I'm able to build it up to my liking. I want to add this one right on top, and this is just me being extra, just because I want to see how that works. Okay, yeah, this one definitely does have a little bit more pigment than the orange one. Right away I can tell, and it has more rosiness to it for sure. Just adding whatever is left on the brush on my forehead and just blending everything nicely. If I want the bronzer to stand out a little bit, I'm definitely going to go for a different shade because Laguna is just too light for me right now. But the blushes are beautiful. They blend to the skin absolutely amazing. There's no patchiness. It didn't stay in one spot, and as pigmented as they are, I mean, you can see it right here. They're still on my hand, and I'm really trying to clean it off, and they are just not going anywhere, which tells me that they are going to be a very long-lasting formula for blushes, which is always good because the first thing that usually disappears on me are blushes. So that is a really, really, really good sign. So let me go ahead and just add this shade right here to the very tops of my cheeks to see how it acts as a highlighter. I absolutely love Nars highlighters. I think that they are super beautiful. I still have some older palettes with highlighters that I still use until this day. They are just so beautiful. This one right here, it's really nice, but it's super subtle, not over the top. It's not super metallic. Really nice and wearable. The type of highlighters that I've been really reaching for lately. Since I am really into like glowy blushes, I have been either reaching for something a little bit more natural on the highlighter or just skipping it altogether. But this one is definitely something that I can see myself wearing, just because it, again, is not super metallic. It's not emphasizing any of my texture. It's looking really nice and smooth on the skin. I am really impressed, and I almost kind of skipped this palette altogether, but I'm glad that I do have it in my collection just because I am very impressed with the pigmentation of the blushes, the way that they just blended to the skin. And whenever you are working with something that is super pigmented like that, it's really difficult sometimes because it can tend to stay in one spot, and it could be a little bit difficult for you to blend it. But this did not give me that problem whatsoever, so I'm once again really impressed with this face palette, and I'm glad that I have it. So let's go ahead and talk about the eyeshadows now. I am going to finish up my lips, and I'm going to give you my overall thoughts in regards of the eyeshadow palette because I do have some thoughts. So now moving on to the eyeshadow palette. Now we have the STARGAZE palette, and again is $60. Is this color story super unique, especially if you have a super big collection? I don't think so. If you don't have any of these shades, or maybe you are in the market for an eyeshadow palette and you want to try Nars and you like this color story, then I don't think that you will be disappointed whatsoever. I think the quality, it's okay. It's not wow, it's not outstanding to me. I enjoy how pigmented the shadows are. They blended just fine. I did have to put in a little bit for certain shades, like this one right here, which is the darkest shade, as well as this red one and this kind of maroon one. I did have to put extra work for those shadows to blend just because they tend to stay in one spot, and to blend it out you have to continue on putting on a little bit more, and it could just get really smoky super quickly. I don't think that they were super easy, maybe beginner friendly to work with, in my opinion, just because I do have other eyeshadows in my collection that I feel like are easier to apply and to blend, especially if you are a beginner on makeup. If you are already familiar with the Nars formula, then you know that after putting in the work for a little bit, you are going to end up with a beautiful look. The one thing that I do gotta say that I'm really impressed with is how deep and rich the shades are. So a little bit goes a long way, especially if you are tanner or deeper complexion, then you are definitely going to enjoy the quality and how deep and rich these shades really go, which I was again very impressed by that. Another positive from this palette is just the versatility. You can create really nice, warm, really rich, warm tone looks and really cool tone looks. I mean, it was just insane, especially creating those two first looks, how different they look from one another. It was really impressive to see that it came out from this little tiny palette. This one is really small. If you want to take it traveling, I don't think it's going to take a lot of space. You can also create a nighttime looks and daytime looks with this palette. Again, just the versatility of this palette is very impressive, and again, it's just super small. But yeah, that is it for this video. I hope that this was helpful, especially if you were eyeing the eyeshadow palette, which is a limited edition by the way, and the face palette. I hope that I was able to demo it for you enough for you to make a decision. But let me know in the comment section down below if you guys like this look. So which one was your favorite, 1, 2, or 3? If you are going to be picking up any of these items, are you going to wait for the sale? Let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, that is it, my friends. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your love, your time, and support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you next time.